What is up, everyone? Welcome to another October daily video where I'm doing 31 days of Halloween drawing. Today I'm going to be drawing Frankenstein's Monster. That's right, it's Frankenstein's Monster, not Frankenstein. Just like this isn't Zelda. Get it right. Ah! Alright, let's get started with our Frankenstein's Monster. That's right, Frankenstein's Monster, not Frankenstein. Get it together, people. No, actually, that never drives me as nuts as like some people act like it drives them nuts. Honestly, I don't think it drives those people nuts either. They just like to be nitpicky. But like all the other drawings, I did the sketch beforehand to kind of speed up the process a little bit. So I made a new layer here. I'm gonna hold it there for a second. It's gonna make a nice ellipse for us. I did this on a separate layer. Well, it'll make sense in a second. Yep. Okay. So, go back to the first layer I made. Make these bottom eyelids here. Now what I can do is I can go to the first layer I made there. Go to standard liner there. And then I can erase where any of this stuff intersects. I like doing this, kind of speeds up the process a little bit as far as having to worry about where things intersect. So, something I do all the time. If you've watched any of the other videos this month, you'll know I do this pretty consistently throughout my drawings. And I like doing it this way. I think it helps speed up things. Who knows if it actually does. But I do it, so. Combine those, you can just pinch those together to get a little to get a merge on those, or you can tap on the layer that's above and or below it, and you can just have it fill below as one of the options or fill above, so you can always do that as well. But I just pinch it because it normally ends up being a little faster. So I'm gonna make another layer here for the hair. And give him this like bowl cut that's kind of squared off a little bit. I'm doing this on another layer again so I can just erase where it intersects with the head itself. And the idea of this drawing was basically Frankenstein is just sitting in his house, just minding his own business, and all these people are outside his house with like pitchforks and fire and all that kind of stuff like you always see with Frankenstein's Monster. And he is just annoyed that people won't leave him alone. And the little book that he's holding is going to say something along the lines of how to make people like you. So, just kind of a sad drawing, really. Poor Frankie. Go. I can do this stitching on this same layer. And this is one reason I really like doing this separate layer stuff, so then there's kind of continuity between the lines when it goes all the way across and it intersects with stuff, so you don't stop the line, start again, and whatnot. And then you kind of get things sometimes in a slightly different spot than where it ended on the other layer. So I can combine those now. And we'll just keep going. And actually we'll do a separate layer for these glasses as well. Actually, I probably don't need to, but yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't need to, but I already made the new layer, so that's fine. Just roll with it and we'll combine it when we're done with the layer. Ooh, actually. No, I kind of like it rounded. That did look kind of cool, though. And I've said it in other videos as well. Today I am using the 2nd gen iPad Pro with the 1st gen Apple Pencil while using Procreate. Any intersecting spots? Not that I see. Oh, wait, of course. That's why I made this other layer. erase that where that intersected. And we'll combine those. Who knows if that actually makes it faster. Now, when I'm kind of in the mode of just drawing and not talking while drawing, I know it's a lot faster for me because I don't have to, well, explain what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of, I do it very subconsciously when I'm adding all those layers and whatnot. And we'll do the same thing with this guy. I am following the sketch pretty close, but I'm not following it to a T. I did do this sketch originally on paper, and then when I brought it into Procreate here, I did refine it quite a bit, so it is pretty close to how I wanted the finished look of it all to be, but a lot of times I don't end up following my sketch lines to a T, actually. Keep that. And boop, and boop. And we can go in and erase this part of the neck here. And see, like I was saying, where I had this big line goes all the way across, now it properly meets up where it would have, because I did it as one continuous line. So that's why I do that. Now, I was talking about earlier doing these, I did these sketches beforehand. If you do want to get a hold of those sketches, you can get them on my Patreon. The $1 membership gives you access to all the sketches and stuff that I did this entire month, any past things as well, for as long as I've had my Patreon, basically. And on top of that, you also get the brushes that I am using. If you don't want to sign up for Patreon, which I totally get it, you know, doing a monthly subscription to something, you can just get the brushes on Gumroad as well. So that's something to look into if that's something that interests you and you want to dabble in using some other brushes other than the ones that just come with Procreate. I use these brushes, I almost said pencils. I use these brushes for pretty much all of my digital drawings I do, either for just myself when I'm making cartoons or for any clients. Yeah, that's pretty much my go-to when I'm doing stuff now. I do use Procreate for pretty much everything these days. I do use a little bit of Photoshop here and there, not as much as I used to though. And I mainly use that for doing some basic edits on stuff, some post-production things, sometimes things I do make on Procreate here, because some of the options as far as editing your stuff afterwards with effects and whatnot is pretty limited on Procreate here. So you can get a good amount of extra stuff if you do use Photoshop. So that's kind of where I lie with using Photoshop these days. So now I am going to make lines for the paper going, you know, like this through there, but I'm going to actually do that towards the end after I have added colors and whatnot. A lot of times I like to do all of that extra little lineage stuff after I've kind of completed the drawing. It kind of helps when I'm dropping in the colors and whatnot. I don't have to go in and individually paint certain areas, because when you're dropping in the colors, it does fill based on the lines. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute, because we don't have too many lines left. Alright, so line work is all done. I don't know how much I missed there with my camera shutting off for a second. I've been pretty good as this month has been going on about checking that. Forgot for a couple seconds there. Hopefully it was just a couple seconds. Alright, so we're going to make some colors now. So we made our new layer. Let's go back up to our line layer. tap reference on that, so that way when we drop in our colors, it's going to drop it in within the parameters of the lines. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was on the right layer. Fill strength is strong. You can kind of adjust that just by sliding your pen across, and you can stop it where you think it's a good spot. And you can just kind of fill in some of these areas. Sometimes it might be a little faster than dropping them in those areas, so I'll do that every once in a while as well. Okay. And nope. Didn't need to tap that. Oh, get his hand down here. Fingers. Okay, so we'll go slightly darker, and we'll get his nails over here. We can continue with refill for that. And we can just slide it where we want it to start and just tap those in. Nice little speedy way to do that. And you can just tap this to turn it off. And we'll make the book maybe like an orangish brown color. I'll do maybe like a purple, I think, for the inside of his mouth. I like that color as the inside of the mouth of like a monster character. You know what I realized I didn't do? Get this. And then I'm actually gonna, on a separate layer after, I'm actually gonna put some blue inside those glasses to kind of shift the hue of things behind it. I'm pretty sure Frankenstein's monster, they always depict with like black hair. Give him like a dark gray so it's not completely black. And let's do like a bluish color for his shirt. There we go. And get like a brown for the couch he's sitting on, or the chair. Oh, I think I'm frozen. Froze there for a second. That is the one downside sometimes of using this slightly older iPad. It does freeze on me every once in a while when I'm using Procreate, but most of the time I have no problem getting the job done. Just got to be a little more patient every once in a while. Let's go for color should his walls be? Just do, wait, that's the same color as his shirt. I'm going to the green. Too close to his skin. Purple? Pinkish? Yeah, too much. Okay, so we'll just go with like a gray. And then we'll go with a really dark color for this. Okay, so now the base colors are finished. So let's start going into adding some shadows. Make a new layer here. I'm gonna go to black. And so I want more of the light coming from this side here, like the lamp almost. So we'll do predominantly this side of his face in shadow. Now, a lot of times I end up using the fill brush for this, but I'm actually going to be a little more precise on this part for the shadowing. And he's a little bit more of a complex character than sometimes some of them have been. And I'll show you kind of what I do when I'm doing it this way instead of doing the big bulk of color laydown. So okay, so now what I like to do when I fill in like this much, or when I'm trying to be a little more precise and I fill in stuff, I actually go in with my liner tool, with my freehand select tool, Choking there for a second. And then I'm just going to go in and follow these lines pretty close at least. And then I can just, oops, fix that. I can just drop in color just like that. And do the same thing over here. Drop that in. Alright, now that I got a decent amount of shadow in there, now I can go in and figure out where I like my shadow. I think I like it right about there. And we're just going to go back in and just finish up getting all the shadow in that we like. Okay, so I kind of zoned out there for a little bit, trying to get those shadows in. That's all right. I wouldn't have had anything crazy to say. But now we're at the part I really like doing, and that is adding a rim light. And this is one of my favorite parts because it really starts adding a lot of dimension to your drawing really fast. And basically all this is I'm going in and finding these areas that are really heavily in shadow and breaking them up just a little bit. And giving them just a little extra depth. And it kind of gives it this idea that light is passing through to from like the back side of the character. And with this drawing, actually, since he's gonna have people outside with pitchforks, it's gonna give it a better chance to have kind of like a glow effect to it all. So highlights. Actually, we'll go for a yellowish hue or a reddish orangish hue, and this is going to kind of give that glow that he's getting from the villagers outside with their pitchforks and all those mean things that they always are trying to, you know, get Mr. Frankie Boy here with. I really should have done the background and his body and whatnot on a separate layer, but that's alright. Because now, since I don't have that clipping mask, I gotta go in and erase any of these areas that are going outside the lines. Why won't you? There we go. Now, you might have noticed at the beginning of the video, I was wearing a Happy Halloween shirt. If that's something you want to get your hands on, they are available still on Teespring? My brain's shutting off right now. But I will have a link for those in the description. Something that helps out the channel, so if you want to check those out, I would greatly appreciate it. Supports my art, supports the channel, supports me doing more videos. So that's something you like, you should go and maybe check that out. Especially if you have anyone in your family that has a wiener dog. I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. Alright. I think that looks pretty good for that. Maybe give this a little bit of a shine as well. It's just picking up just a little bit of the light. Okay, so we'll tap the end on that as well. Bring that down. I'm liking the way this looks so far. I hope everyone else does. I think it's cute. Now, time for adding some fire in the background. Now, this is something... Should have put this blue... Definitely should have put this blue on a separate layer. Let's just see how well I can get rid of that with... this is just gonna make it so I can put the blue back over the flames that I make in the background. So get rid of all of this. Okay, now I'm dying. Okay, so we're gonna go and find our red color here. Okay, get rid of reference here, since I'm just going to be filling in these big sections. So okay, so now what I can do, I'm going to go to make another layer, clipping mask, and then go to yellow color here. And one more layer. And now these will end up combining in the end, but for right now, I'm gonna do them all in separate layers because I'm gonna do like a little Gaussian blur thing at the end. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do fire. This is just one of the ways I do it. I've done it multiple different ways. Okay, so we're gonna go up here, Gaussian blur. And do that. Maybe give it a little bit more. There we go. Go to the whitish colored layer, Gaussian blur. And then go to the red one, and I'll do a slight Gaussian blur on that as well. Just gonna kind of imply that there's people back here holding these flaming sticks, and I'm actually going to make this slightly blurry as well. So we're gonna go in there because it's through the glass, so I don't want to combine those just yet in case I want to change something on that. And let's go back to reference on this, make another layer, and let's drop that opacity. There. And this is going to change the hue of everything behind it, including these lines. Okay, now one thing I'm gonna try to add and see how it looks. I'm gonna do like an airbrush of dark gray. Turn that opacity down, tap the end. And we'll give this entire thing a little Gaussian blur and mix the colors in a little bit there. And a little more ambient lighting. Alright, now one of the last things I just need to do is I'm going to go in and just kind of add some detail lines where they are needed. Oops, I'm still on airbrush. And let's bring this down a bit to 5. And one more layer here. And combine those fires. Just in case I start running low on options for layers. Now, if you do get the slightly newer iPads and stuff like that, you do get more layers and stuff like that because it's got a little more RAM in it. So this is limited on how many layers I can get, but most of the time it's never too much of an issue. Drawings like this sometimes pushes the limit of layers, and I just gotta start going in and combining stuff, but go super precise with those. Just something to give a sense of pages. Alright, so there it is, the finished Frankenstein's monster. I really love this one. This one probably has the most story out of any of the drawings I did this month. But remember, this is only one of 31 drawings I have done this month, or am doing. There's still a couple more after this. So if you haven't watched any of the other ones I did this month, and this is the first one you've watched, make sure to check it out. Like I said, there is a link for it up in the card above. But remember, like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye!